listen, we got the second Punic War, part 1. So y'all know the vibes. If we get to like 2,000 likes, we'll do part 2. You know what I'm saying? So smash that like button. I know you watching the vid. I know nothing about the Punic War, but I'm about to learn about it today. Let's get it.
Mercenaries. Let's hear it. Okay. Thank you one and all for your hard work fighting in the first Punic War. Would have been nice if you'd won. Maybe tried a little harder. But this isn't the finger-pointing convention.
Imagine the person that didn't fight telling you should have fought harder. Get out of my face.
One thing on your minds. Hey, when are we all getting paid? Remember you lost your... Okay. Jim, why don't you tell them? I'm not telling them, you tell them. Ugh. Look, you're not getting paid. What? We lost the first Punic War and owe the Romans a ton of reparations. Of course we can't pay you in full.
Oh, the Romans had to pay them?
Let's burn this place to the ground!
After they beat them?
Hey! Don't burn this place to the ground. Come on, fellas. Will killing us really make you feel better about your money? Yes. Way to go, sir. Shut up, Jim. You're fired. I guess that makes 2 of us. Huh?
Oh. They set that boy on fire, you're done.
In the aftermath of the First Punic War, Carthage's disgruntled mercenaries, left unpaid for all their hard work, revolted, and Carthage found itself caught up in an extremely destructive mercenary war. The panicked Carthage caught up in an extremely destructive mercenary war.
I was looking at the dates, I'm like, that don't make sense, but BC, come on now.
The panicked Carthaginians hired more mercenaries to fight the mercenaries they couldn't afford to pay, and Carthage came dangerously close to collapse. All the while, across the water, there was Rome. Ha! Look at those morons. We just kicked their ass in the first Punic War, and now their own mercenaries are revolting. Haha. Yeah. Wait, first Punic War? You mean there's going to be a second one? Well, we're definitely taking advantage of this situation. So almost certainly, yes. The Romans did, in fact, take advantage of the situation. Amongst the chaos, rebels on the Carthaginian island of Sardinia sent out a cry for help to Rome. Hot diggity dog, said the Romans. That's free real estate. And so in they went. Whoa!
Hey, listen, help never comes without a cost.
That's our island.
Okay?
Get the hell off. Hey, they requested our help. We're simply helping. Oh, no, you don't. Look, we're sending our own army to deal with the rebels, okay? But just to be clear, we're not trying to start a fight with you, so, don't declare war on us or anything. War! We surrender! Great. And as part of the peace treaty, we get to keep these islands.
Yo, that's a Uno reverse of hey, we're coming to help. Hey, listen, we're going to come set these people straight so you can leave them alone. Oh, you're intruding on what we're doing? And then they just take it from them? That's crazy.
The Carthaginians were hopping mad. As if their humiliating loss in the First Punic War wasn't bad enough, the Romans now took advantage of their mercenary problem and stole their islands. This shocking land grab was pretty hard to justify, even by Roman standards. Additionally, the Romans now demanded Carthage pay them even more money on top of what was already owed. If Rome was trying to make Carthage as mad as possible, they were doing a fantastic job. The seeds of a second Punic War were being sown, and they were being watered with Carthaginian tears. Resentment in Carthage only continued to grow. Eventually,
sometimes you gotta admit
Carthage
your
solved
loss.
their mercenary problem thanks to Carthaginian military genius and hero of the First Punic War, Hamilcar Barca. He sorted those naughty mercenaries out with some good old-fashioned atrocities, and the destructive mercenary war was over. Still, all was not well in Carthage. Mere decades ago, they were the top dogs in the Western Mediterranean. Now, after the crushing defeat in the First Punic War and a huge bill to pay the Romans, Carthage was well and truly under Rome's thumb. What on earth were they supposed to do? If they wanted any chance at regaining their former strength, there was one thing they needed now,
money,
more than anything. Money. But as long as they owed Rome $1 bazillion, there was nothing they could do. Fortunately for them, amongst their ranks, there was one big hunk of a man with one big clump of a brain. Me! Hamilcar Barca! Yes! Wait, Why do you all have the exact same voice? Ah, I have it too! That's right. Hero of the First Punic War, greatest general alive, and the poster above my bed. Hamilcar Barca had an idea. All right, we need money? Well, I've got one word for you. Spain. An area filled with lucrative silver mines, from which the silver would flow like a river. And our pockets would be stuffed, like Tony's mother at a buffet. Hey, so here's my proposal.
You gotta fight about that one.
You send me with an army to Spain. I'll expand our territory, get those silver mines up and running, and we'll be able to pay the Romans back in no time. Okay, but just to check, you're not secretly raising the money to go on a bloodthirsty revenge spree against Rome, are you? Because we can't afford that.
Not.
Hanno, my dear, I'm simply going to pay them
back. See, you got to rearrange the words. Well, not really. Not pay them back. We're going to get payback on them, okay? You know, it's a difference. You know, I might have said it wrong. You might have interpreted one thing, but listen, get it back in blood.
Well, that wasn't reassuring. Few in Carthage were as bitter about their loss in the First Punic War as Hamilcar Barca. 98% of his brain matter had been reallocated to thoughts of revenge. He was also fed up with the Carthaginian politicians for what he deemed a cowardly betrayal when they surrendered at the end of the last war. And so for Hamilcar, going to Spain meant being able to act independently from the weak Carthaginian government, building his own strength, and then perhaps somewhere down the line, revenge. However, he wasn't going to Spain by himself. Hannibal? Yes, father? Would you like to come with me to build an empire in Spain? Oh boy, would I! Barbara, mind if I take our 9-year-old son with me? I want to plant an intense hatred of Rome in him and prepare him for a glorious campaign of vengeance. Just try not to traumatize him, dear. No promises. The young boy Hannibal would accompany his father, watching, learning. Boy,
this is crazy.
You see that city over there?
Taking a 9-year-old
yes, father?
to train for war?
Is Rome. Do you know what we do to Romans? No, father. We hate them, Hannibal. We hate them with every fiber of our being. But why, father? Can't I just play with my Digimons? No, son! They took everything from us. Our land, our wealth, our pride. Those animals. I'll tear them limb from limb. I'll burn their pathetic city to the ground. Dad? I'm sorry, son. I've just never been so proud. Keep going. I'll slaughter their people. I'll cut off their faces and wear them as masks. I love you, son. After taking Hannibal to the Temple of Baal and having him swear an oath never to be a friend of Rome, off dad and son went for their lovely beach holiday in Spain. But Spain was already inhabited by many tribespeople. And when Hamilcar suddenly showed up in their territory, they were like, hey, who the hell are you? What are you doing here? I'm teaching my son how to become a warrior like me. Aw, well, that's sweet. Well, then, little guy, let's see what you got. Good boy. As Hamilcar got to work fighting the tribes of Iberia and expanding Carthaginian influence, Hannibal became a child of war, even earning battle scars from a young age.
Yo, my man is low-key, even though this is his real father. If y'all ever watch Vinland Saga, when old buddy was coming up and he started cooking, that's kind of like what his son is doing.
And he grew to become a great military leader himself.
Thor's son? Come on now.
Making his father very proud. I love you so much, son. Dad, not in front of the enemy.
You're hugging him like that.
You killed that guy so well, son. The Barcas successfully consolidated Carthaginian power, got those silver mines up and running, and were sending buckets of cash back to a money-starved Carthage. And symbolizing Carthage's regrowing strength, a beautiful new city would eventually be founded in Spain. New Carthage, with a magnificent palace at its center. Carthage is back, baby! What in the name of Apollo is going on here? Ah, Romans! Flowing silver mines? Dancing elephants? What are you up to, Hamilcar? I'm simply gathering the money to pay you back.
Exactly.
Oh, okay then. Or are you rebuilding strength to go on a bloodthirsty revenge spree? Like I said, Claudius,
I'm paying
simply
you back.
Trying to pay you back. Aw. You guys are hugging. No, we're not. I was hugging.
It's wild, but
Hamilcar
sometimes
had
it's about
practically
cultural
carved out a
tradition.
kingdom
What
for
do you mean?
himself in Spain, free from the meddling Carthaginian politicians. His power was becoming immense. But Dad, yes, my son? I'm confused. Are we really simply paying the Romans back? We're not gonna go on a bloodthirsty revenge spree? Of course we are. I'm just saying that to get the Romans off our backs. Listen, here's the most important life lesson I have for you. Vengeance is everything. An all-encompassing thirst for
Batman.
vengeance is great for your mental health. Are you still confused? No, I get it now. But what if the Romans find out what we're up to? They won't find out. Why? Well, Hannibal, because I use NordVPN.
Hey, that was a good one. That was a good one.
I'm confused again. Do you like your computer being hacked, all your passwords being stolen, and used to create a fake virtual you who drains your mom's bank account? Me neither. And that's why I use NordVPN. These days, hackers are only getting smart
Devin, what's good, my boy?
while you're
Free the guy.
only getting dumber. Whether it's convincing phishing attacks, fake Wi-Fi networks, or clicking your aunt's Facebook post that opens the door to a hacker party on your device, you need to protect yourself from online threats with NordVPN. NordVPN allows you to connect to secure servers that encrypt your data and keeps you safe by blocking malicious websites with their threat protection feature. With NordVPN, you can also connect to other territories and take advantage of better deals or content not available in your country. And if you don't like it, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So go to
Hold on now.
nordvpn.com/oversimplified to get an exclusive deal with a huge discount and 4 extra months. That's nordvpn.com.
I might have to get NordVPN.
Oversimplified.
NordVPN's not virus protection, though, is it? It's internet protection. Then what is Norton? What? Okay.
And as always, you'll
What is McAfee? Listen, I need to update my security. All right, we might need to do that.
be supporting my channel. So thank you.
Oh, we got a little KingeCon ready. Just dropped a couple days ago. Hey, send that link over. We doing that next.
Now, where were we? Oh yeah,
Put the link in the Discord.
Carthaginian tears, a child of war, and the Carthaginian conquest of Spain. The Carthaginian recovery had been staggeringly quick, and Rome was seriously alarmed. But they were also preoccupied with ongoing wars elsewhere.
See, that's why they with Carthage. What they should have did is kept the silver way over there, but sent it to Carthage. Right? Kept all the real money in New Carthage, sent it to Carthage, and paid back at the same rate they were already paying. Then the alarm bells wouldn't have went off. Right?
Including an expansionist war to the north, where they were enslaving thousands of northern Celts. So for now, to keep Carthage in check, the Romans insisted on a new treaty. See this river? The two sides agreed that everything above it was in Rome's sphere of influence, while beneath it was Carthage. Under no circumstances were the Carthaginians to expand north of that river. But for now, Hamilcar and son were living it up. Well, son, here's to many more years of successful campaigning in Spain.
Joe Blue
now,
was
if you'll
good.
excuse me, I just have to go fight those guys. See you later, son. I love you.
He died.
What the? Oh, crap. I drowned? Oh, well. Always remember, son. You are vengeance. Also,
That's
delete my
crazy.
browsing history. Hamilcar Barca was tragically ambushed at a river and drowned. His son-in-law, and possibly also his lover, no further questions, took charge for a while. But
Joe
he
with
too
the
was
sub, yes, sir.
leaving finally at 26-year-old Hannibal in charge of the Carthaginian armies in Spain. Sources say the men readily accepted him as their leader. He chose to suffer the same hardships as his men. He lived in the same conditions, was often the first into battle and the last one out. And it also helped that he looked a lot like his dad. He had the total respect of his men. If he said jump, they said how high. If he said tuck me in, they said how tight. If he said talk to a girl without peeing your pants, they said that's impossible. Nobody can do that. An army that would follow him anywhere. would be crucial for exacting his vengeance against Rome.
That's a real one right there.
Hannibal's army had become a strong and loyal fighting force, and that was making a certain nation very uncomfortable. Seeing Carthage re-strengthen so quickly was not something Rome had expected, yet here they were, paying off their debts and expanding their territory. It didn't feel very much like Carthage was under Rome's thumb at all, and Rome wanted to put an end to it. Tensions were strung tighter than your liar's G-string, and all it would take was one incident to trigger all-out war. And in 219 BC, a city in Spain would find itself at the very center of that fateful incident, Saguntum. Remember that treaty declaring everything south of this river to be Carthage's sphere of influence? Well, Saguntum should therefore obviously be Carthaginian, right?
Nope. Wrong.
Saguntum had actually scored itself an informal alliance with Rome.
Now, you create a friendship while you in the middle of a war zone. That could be the best move possible or the worst thing you can ever do, okay?
After Rome had helped it with an internal dispute. With Carthaginian encroachment, Saguntum began to fear for its independence, and Rome declared itself Saguntum's protector. But this clearly went against the Ebro River Treaty. So what on earth was Rome doing? Were the Saguntines and the Romans truly just BFFs? It's possible. Or was Rome deliberately trying to interfere with Hannibal's Spanish expansion and maintain a staging post for a future war with Carthage? More likely. And Hannibal certainly viewed this Rome-Saguntum alliance as an outrage. Yet another example of Roman arrogance. At first, he left Saguntum alone. But having learnt from his father to hate all things Roman and having inherited his father's dream of bringing Rome to its knees more and more, Hannibal may have begun to see Saguntum as an opportunity. Could this controversial alliance
I would've
be
got him up
just
outta
what
here.
devilish little Hannibal needed to kickstart a second war with Rome and restore Carthaginian dominance? It's even possible that Rome were also using Saguntum to goad Hannibal into a fight so they could go and kick him out of Spain. And as the two giants began gearing up for round two, the poor people of Saguntum had no idea that they were about to be crushed in the collision. Hey, your alliance with Saguntum is an insult, and we won't stand for it. They're our friends, Hannibal, and if you lay a finger on them, it'll be an act of war. Yeah, Hannibal, back the hell off.
I would have told them either y'all give up Saguntum or we going above this river. You got two options. You better choose very quick. Okay?
War, eh? I was thinking I might just besiege their city and massacre their people. I hope you do, Hannibal. Find out what happens. Yeah, we hope you do, Hannibal. Wait, what? Maybe I will. Go ahead. Kill them all. Okay then. Fine. Okay, guess I'll do just that. Consul, we look forward to it. Consul, you're gonna protect us though, right, Consul? Consul!
See, that's what you get for making a friend that's so far away. Okay? They gonna throw you to the fishes just for their own gain. Okay, we need to find out if they about to try to get revenge, and we're gonna use y'all to do it. I hope some people survive. Some people may not. You know.
Oh no! To top it all off, when the Saguntine people made the genius decision of raiding into Carthaginian territory, enough was enough.
Yeah,
in
you're
an
done.
action that was guaranteed to provoke the Romans into war, Hannibal besieged the city. The siege of Saguntum lasted 8 cruel months before Hannibal broke through the city defenses and turned Saguntum into a killing field. It was a massacre. What the hell? Tell me I didn't just catch you massacring our friends, the Saguntines. Well, Consul, if you like the Saguntines so much, perhaps you should sug on these nuts. Hearing word of the attack on Saguntum, Rome was understandably in an uproar.
Ready for
all
war.
eyes were now fixated on what would happen next, as Rome sent a delegation to Carthage, led by one of the most highly esteemed Roman senators, Fabius Maximus. He demanded an answer for Hannibal's sins. All right, listen up, scum. You've got a rogue general in Spain attacking a Roman ally, What are we supposed to do about it? Well, there shouldn't have even been a Roman ally in Spain. You're the aggressor here. Hand Hannibal over to us as a criminal so we can punish him severely. No, yes, no, yes. No. Look, I hold in the folds of my toga both peace and war. Which one should I let drop? Whichever one you want. Then I choose
both.
The Second Punic War had begun. Pack it up, boys. We've got them. We already destroyed these clowns once, and we were the underdogs. Now we're the
don't get too beside yourself. That's how.
Exactly.
That's how you lose.
This is gonna be easy. Here's the plan. Consul Longus, you take your army and sail straight for Carthage. Burn that city to the ground. And Consul Scipio, you just head on over to Iberia and make sure this Hannibal guy doesn't do anything crazy. I mean, what's he gonna do? Cross the Alps? We're going to what? Cross the Alps. We're going to what? I just told you. Hannibal will freeze to death.
Oh, we gonna make it through. We gonna make it through.
Are expecting us to fight the same way we did last time. Passively, taking no initiative. They think it's gonna be easy. So this time, we have to be
that's when people get too big-headed. That's when you start losing.
Aggressive. We have to go on the attack. It sickens me to say this, but this time, we have to be a little more Roman. You mean we're gonna take poops and baths together? But I'm insecure about my hairy legs. No, I'm saying this time, we're gonna take the fight to them. Think about it. Rome thinks they're simply going to invade us and win the war. So when they suddenly find themselves being invaded from the north, they'll freak out. Like Tony's mother when the buffet runs out of shrimp. Hey, I got to admit,
having shrimp at the buffet though,
genius. And my hairy legs will insulate me from the cold. That's the spirit. Hannibal, you have my sword and my spear and my legs.
Hey, yo, put them away, big fella.
Hannibal's plan, a daring alpine trek to surprise the Romans, was a bold but risky strategy. If it paid off, he could catch the Romans with their pants down, but he could also end up losing a ton of men and supplies in the hostile mountain conditions. Nevertheless, in 218 BC, with a fire in his eyes and some vengeance in his belly, Hannibal brought his force of almost 100,000 men across the Ebro River. They spent months on the road, trekking through the cold, hostile mountain conditions. And when they finally reached the other side, they said, "Hooray!
How many people made it across?
We crossed the Alps." No, those were the Pyrenees. Those are the Alps. After crossing the Pyrenees, the army then had to pass through southern Gaul, a vast territory filled with tribespeople, many of whom were hostile to Hannibal's presence. His journey to the Alps was an ordeal in itself, as he was forced to fight his way through and incurred pretty
I would have told that general, look, we not even worried about y'all. Y'all don't get in front of a bullet that's not meant for you, okay? Your name is not on this one. So please step to the side and we're going to walk right to those Alps, okay?
50 losses before even reaching the mountains. His plan was almost stopped in its tracks entirely, as the Roman consul Scipio, on his way to Iberia, discovered Hannibal was right on his doorstep. Suddenly, Hannibal's journey became a race, as he rushed to get his massive army across the vast Rhone River before the Romans could intercept him. The crossing was chaotic, with the panicking elephants causing several men to drown. And the first combat of the war occurred when small scouting parties from each side encountered one another. When Scipio finally caught up to Hannibal's position, what he found was an empty Carthaginian camp. Hannibal had slipped through his fingers. The Roman consul Scipio felt the weight of the situation. Quite
I don't know if I'm cheering for the right
Hannibal
person.
was going to cross the Alps into Italy, and the Romans had no idea where he would emerge. For the first time, a Carthaginian force had the Roman homeland under threat. Scipio sent his men onto Iberia as planned, but he himself rushed home to raise a new army so that if Hannibal survived the crossing, Scipio would be there, waiting. Would you look at that, boys? We're here, the Alps. Although it is a little later than I expected. Yeah, it's kinda chilly. We'll set up camp here and wait for spring, right? It's way too cold, right? Hannibal? Hannibal's famous crossing of the Alps was brutal. It was already autumn, and the men suffered
frozen
terribly.
fire
It was
is
cold.
crazy.
Men would fall off the sides of icy cliffs. They starved. They fell off the sides of icy cliffs. Some sources say they had to eat their pack animals and would finish
other.
off dying comrades in order to take their clothes for extra warmth. And then they would fall off the sides of icy cliffs. Imagine an army of 50,000 men with all of their horses, supplies, and 37 elephants trying to navigate the most hostile mountain
I'm gonna go. They got there with 38,000 people.
range
That's where I'm
in
going.
Europe. And it wasn't just nature that they were up against. Tribespeople lived in the mountains, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. A tribe approached Hannibal and said, "Hey man, geez, that's some nice armor. What is that, gold? Man, I'd really like that armor. Hey boss, they've got food as well. Shut up, be cool. Hey, why don't you let us guide you through this narrow gorge? We're not gonna kill you or nothing. Just walk right on through there. We're not gonna kill you. It's just right this way."
Bruh, this is literally the opening of Vinland Saga, bruh. They was going through the little thing in the boat. They was up there with the arrows and the, you know what I'm saying? Got that boy, what is his name? No, Thor's is the dad. Thorfinn's the kid, right? Thor's got cooked.
We're not gonna kill you. Hannibal's army were forced to fight their way through the gorge as massive boulders rained down on them from above. Some clever reorganization of his line helped them survive, and they were able to fend off the opportunistic tribes. But losses from the constant attacks were heavy. As the journey continued, men who went over the sides would get stuck on the ice sheets below and had to make a grisly choice between starving to death or just getting it over with. When the deeply
That's
demoralized
crazy. I couldn't
army
even
reached the
imagine
summit
being in that
and
situation.
rested for a couple days, Hannibal tried to lift their spirits with a rousing speech. "Look, men, down there. It's Rome. These plains stretching out in front of you are bountiful with food to eat and Romans to kill. Move, Bessie! Look, you have just climbed the walls of Rome. The hard part is over. From here on out, it's all downhill, and nobody else will die. Except for them. The rest of us here, no one dies. Starting now."
Hey, get moving.
Okay, let's go. Oh, for goodness sake! As it turned out, the descent was as deadly as the way up, with the cold really starting to set in. The path became even more narrow, and at one point, the men spent 3 days in the freezing cold, repairing a collapsed road. When they finally reached the bottom, Hannibal said, "Look, guys, we did it." Well, I thought it went
couple of
really
days
well.
to-
When Hannibal left Spain, he had about 100,000 men.
I
By
said
the time
38.
he reached the Italian plains, his numbers had dwindled to about
Woo,
26,000.
I was off.
He was now caught in enemy territory without a supply line or source of reinforcements. And any elephants who had survived to this point were almost certainly traumatized. So what on earth was Hannibal up to? This supposed military genius had just led a starving and weakened army
This is
right
part one.
into enemy territory. Any modern general who lost half their men to mountains would be immediately fired and possibly even depantsed on live TV. Here's the thing. While Hannibal may not have planned on losing quite
Hey,
so
listen, I couldn't be no general because they depants me on live TV and the nation gonna clap. That's all I'm saying.
many men, he had
Yeah,
almost
done.
certainly expected considerable losses, and he always had a plan for how to replace them. Need men? Northern Italy was full of men. Big, burly Celtic men. All the men Hannibal would ever need to beat off Rome.
So
These
what?
Celts were filled with resentment, having only recently been conquered by Rome. Hannibal hoped to be seen as a liberator, convince the Celts to cut ties with Rome, and instead join him in crushing Rome. That way, he could gain a source of
That's why you
reinforcements
can-
and supplies right in Rome.
You can't grow by making enemies, all right? Because all the groups of your enemies is gonna team up with your real enemies, and they're gonna get you up out of here, okay?
Backyard. But sir, in order to win the loyalty of the Celts, we would need to make a seriously favorable impression on them. How do we get him to like us? Kill them. One of Hannibal's first actions in Italy was to obliterate a nearby tribe who wouldn't join him. This sent a clear message to all the other tribes. It was his wrath they should fear, not Rome's. The realization that a Carthaginian army had just invaded them must have been shocking for the Romans. But when they looked at this ragtag group broken by the Alps, they couldn't have felt very intimidated. However, Hannibal was now in Italy, and he was about to embark on one of the most astonishing military campaigns in all of human history. The Romans may not have known it yet, but there was now a monster loose in their territory, and he was vying for Roman blood.
Hey, yo, we got to do part 2. But I told y'all 1,000 likes, we'll do part 2. All right, you know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all, if you watch this far, you might as well have liked the video. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Holla, this is a banger. I want to see you do part 2. Hit the like button. Unplug my freaking headphones. Listen, that boy Hannibal, he done made some moves. He pulled up on them people, said, listen, y'all could join me or y'all can GG's, all right? Those is your only 2 options. And listen, shout out Devin spoiling it in the chat. I kind of know who gonna win, all right? But we still got to watch part 2. I want to see how everything transpires, all right?